Hello everybody, welcome to the Wonky Angle, where I talk about electronic music, both new and old. And today, this is the 10-year anniversary of me having started this channel. And also day 2 of my little 5-video plan to celebrate this particular milestone. And we'll see how well that schedule actually pans out, according to what I said yesterday. But yeah, it's finally time to carry on the tradition of my yearly CD collection updates. Although, also like I mentioned in the video yesterday, I think this is going to be the last time I do these for a bit. I don't think I'm going to do these on the same, yearly basis I've been doing these anymore. This obviously is not to say I plan to, stop buying CDs altogether, or that I will never make another video like this again. But in years previous, I feel like I had been going out to look for and buy, a certain amount of CDs every year, specifically to make these videos more interesting and entertaining to watch. And, while I do not regret any of the purchases I've made, I've also gotten in, I guess a slightly tighter spot financially as the last couple of years. Not like in a crisis by any stretch, but, tight enough where I feel like I need to cut back a bit somewhere. And on top of that, as you might be able to tell from the completely full shelf behind me, I really don't have much physical storage space left to actually put CDs. These shelves are pretty much all the space I have at the moment. This room I live and record in is pretty small. Perhaps CD collection videos will return at some later date. I just don't think keeping them up at the annual rate that I've been doing them is quite as sustainable in the way that it used to be, so I think they'll just get relegated to a once in a blue moon type affair. Maybe I'll do them at I don't know, special subscriber milestones or something. But I'm not setting any plans in stone or anything, I don't know. I mean, it's probably not going to be for the next big subscriber milestone, because I'm at 19.5, 19.6k subscribers right now, so I'll have to start thinking of something to do for when I hit 20k. But it's not going to be another CD collection update, so yeah, I'll have to think of something else to do for that. And that'll be for another time, in any case. So yeah, in the meantime, let's do some of the usual just general unscripted rambling about the CDs that I found over the last 12 months. Okay, so the first we can start with over here. The first CD that I got after my last CD collection update was... This is going to be a big one. Check that out. This is Underground Resistance Revolution for Change. This is a pretty rare one at this point. This is the big Detroit techno outfit. It was Jeff Mills, Mike Banks, and Robert Hood at the points that this comp was made, I think. And it's just them doing their most political, fight the power type techno stuff. And yeah, there's... Needless to say, very relevant stuff all the way up through present day, and all really holds up when I checked that out for that one Patreon request when the guy who asked me to review Galaxy to Galaxy. That was a fun video to make. And I checked this classic out, and this one has really stuck with me. This could be in an all-timer category possibly. So do make sure to look into it if you've never heard it before. I think you can find unofficial uploads on YouTube. It's not on streaming. So yeah. Next thing I can talk about here, I got a bunch over here. How about some stuff from Vale Smith? I have Coruscate, and I have Rekindle. These finally came in... I think I bought these... I bought these right before Yo came out in 2023, I think. And they only arrived in July 2024. Yeah, I guess Mallcat Records, the label that these came out on, had some trouble and got a little over their head about resources and shipping out CDs and stuff. So I mean, at least they did manage to follow up on their promise anyway. I'm happy to get these in my collection. And now Course Gate, this is also cool because this is now the only CD in my collection, like this whole bit of text that you won't be able to see from this angle, but this is now the only CD in my collection that contains a dedication to me specifically. It says, "Oh, the first person that comes to mind when I think of this album is the Wonky Angle. I'd like it to be written here officially first and foremost. Thank you so much for supporting this record as much as you have. You an important and talented soul, thank you." And a huge thanks to Vale Smith for making this album in the first place and just making my days better. And Rekindle too. Rekindle's really good. I haven't given this one enough credit. And in case, more than happy to have both of those in my collection. As well as Are You Sick of Being Unlucky, because I bought that from Speak and Spell Records several years ago. So that's all. So I own all the Vale Smith albums to which physical copies exist. So that's a cool thing. Editing Tommy here a day after recording this video. Somehow while I was talking about Vale Smith's Chorus Gate here, I managed to completely miss the opportunity to mention that this CD copy is a deluxe edition with 5 extra bonus tracks that I've never talked about. I want to do a quick mini review of those here, since that's a interesting discussion. So like after Hummingbird as the closer, you get Hummingbird Part 2, which barely sounds anything like Hummingbird, when taken on its own at least, but makes for like a particularly cool change up where the tempo slows down significantly, and the effect created by that is pretty damn cool. Number 17, Sky Topiary. I will freely admit I wasn't blown away by that one, and it sounds like plenty of others he's made. But out of all 20 tracks here, that would probably be my least favorite, but obviously that is not saying much. It's still really nice, has a lot of pleasant melodic tones in his usual bag. Probably could have fit well on Rekindle too. Raise is also not what I would call a major highlight, but again, really nice track. Kind of feels like a precursor to what he would go on to do on Soul Absence on Yo. Got not a lot of really nice guitars on that one. Just puts you in a good mood. But the real major highlights among the bonus tracks are those last two, The Mowlim and Blaze. Those two are excellent. The Mowlim goes all darker and more experimental, kind of similar to what Ace Ransom did, but even more intense and strange. There's some real cool synths, heavy tunneling spaciousness there. A lot of really cool stuff going on there. And finally, Blaze is acting as the album's secondary closer and nailing it pretty dang well with a lot of really nice emotional pianos and stuff. There's like a warm, comforting empathy to the tone of that one. I end up loving that one as well. So yeah, unsurprising major thumbs up to all the deluxe edition tracks here. They all add to the experience. They don't make it feel too overstuffed if you listen immediately after the full album either. As of right now, the only way you can hear those tracks in full is if you spring for the CD yourself, which obviously I can recommend. Why wouldn't you want to own an album as great as this in physical form? Chances still seem to be quite high that you'll run into some, like, lengthy shipping delays with it. But I think Mallcat Records isn't quite as extremely backlogged as they were before, so hopefully it doesn't take quite as long to arrive for you as it did for me. Fingers crossed, I don't know. And whatever, in any case, I'm just happy to finally have this in my collection at all. Yeah, anyway, back to the other CDs and rambling and stuff. Okay, so the next CD to mention, I got some John Hopkins. Over here. I already had this copy of Immunity here, but the new one that I got is Insides here. So yes, yeah, I got inspired to buy Insides while I was making my video on John Hopkins' last album, Ritual, I think. and like I was re-listening to his big albums, this one, and Immunity, and Singularity, and all of them obviously hold up great. Singularity definitely held up better than I remember, and I feel like there's a chance this could even be my favorite of them. May have come around to the Ryan Not Real Music standpoint, because I know he likes this one more than Immunity, but also we both consider both of them all-timers. Yeah, but Insides is a lot more, it's significantly more experimental than Immunity is. Immunity is kind of like, it's more of like a standard house and garage record, I guess, by comparison. Because at the time we thought that was like, nobody has made house and garage beats like John Hopkins, and now in like the current day where like everything is house, Immunity didn't hold up quite as uniquely as it used to, even though it is still a phenomenal album. And Inside stood out all the more because of that, because the sounds in this one, or the sound design, is just completely out there. So yeah, this is a fantastic album. And another one that I can mention over here, this is something of a rarer one. Come on, get out. There we go. Here's a CD of Casino vs. Japan's Hattori plus Kaizo. Yeah, I just bought this directly from the label, I think. They still had copies available somewhere. There might still be new copies available, though I haven't checked. But yeah, last year I obviously went through the whole Casino vs. Japan catalog for when I did the Some Stuff I Missed segment on his last album, the one with the German title. That album was fine, and he's got some other good ones. I don't like Go Hawaii as much as most other people do. I remember I thought Whole Numbers Play the Basics was pretty good, and Night on Tape was pretty good. Those are probably my favorites behind this one, but yeah, this is definitely stuck out to me as the best out of all his albums. The one that I already did a video on, like for the Patreon request that one time. So this is a really nice to have in my collection, just this whole mix of just warm, fuzzy shoegaze guitars and IDM and that kind of mix. Yeah, it's a fun, unique time, and it's justifies its length very well, I would say. Plenty of variety over the course of the 2 discs. So this album is great. This really stuck with me. Okay, next one to mention is all the way over here. There it is. I got the new Monolake album, Studio. So this album actually has not held up to me that well. I bought the CD anyway, pretty much on site, because I own all the others. I got everything from Hong Kong all the way up through Archaeopteryx, so I gotta have the other one. Although, yeah, this is, I haven't come back to this one since I put up my review. I mean, it was good, but it was definitely among that run of albums in the middle of 2024, which were like, it was this big comeback from an artist that I really like, and then it's just, it's pretty good. And then that was like most of the albums from artists that I love last year. So, yeah, Studio, yeah, this is definitely not one of his better albums. Might be, I think it might even be his weakest, but that's not saying much, because Robert Henke is a legend. Perhaps this will hold up better than I remember, but I haven't come back to it since I put up my video, so yeah, I'm still happy to have the complete collection of CDs and just bought this on site. And it is a very cool album cover, you can't deny that. And speaking of some random 2024 stuff, how about we get my top 2 favorite albums of last year? So here is Jamie XX's In Waves. Gosh, this still gives me eye strain just looking at it in real life. Like, just, it's like the album cover is moving when you turn it too. Like, ooh. It's hard on the eyes, but the album is still great. I will say some tracks on this thing have held up less well than others. I'm not as high on Betty on the Floor as I was when the thing came up. Now I prefer Life much more than it, because the horn sections are just a lot punchier. They got a lot more force to them. And then just some other tracks are just kind of there. And also Treat Each Other Right. That one is an absolutely unkillable earworm, but that's not always in the good way. Sometimes that gets stuck in my head for a day, and then like I'm making it sound like I don't like this album anymore. No, it's still my number 2 favorite album of last year. So, because the stuff that's great on this album is absolutely freaking great. Betty on the Floor, I may not like as much as I may not be as hot on it, but I still love it. I still love the Breather track, this whole drum and bass thing. Daffodil, the whole XX reunion, the closer with the whole spoken word thing is still really good. The Avalanches one holds up alright. I'm not entirely sure how well In Waves is going to age going further. I certainly don't believe it's going to have the staying power that In Color had over the next decade, but I'm glad to live in the universe where this finally came out, and I think it's cool that he did something like really different from In Color that's still like really hit in its own way. And obviously I also got a CD of my number 1 favorite album of 2024, which is Floating Points Cascade. This is one of the squarest albums in my collection. As you can just see it, like, it's just taller than most of the others, like the Ultra Visitor copy. I haven't come back to this one super often since the end of 2024, but you know, it's still held up anytime I have put it back on, and I'm still feeling it as the number 1 spot. Kind of wish 2024 was just a stronger year for the genre in general, although 2025 is definitely making up for it already. So yes, we've been getting lots of great stuff in 2025 so far in electronic music. Mostly just like underground stuff, but still got a much better feeling about the way this year is shaping up. Alright, how about we have another fun one up here? I got one of my rare vinyl records. This one in the middle here is Steely Dan's Asia. Yeah, I've not even taken the plastic off of this because I don't own a turntable. I don't play vinyl records. That's why I only have 5 vinyl records as of now, and this many CDs. You can tell which format I prefer. But yeah, the Asia, I've always been a big Steely Dan fan for many years. My favorite album of theirs is Countdown to Ecstasy, but this is my second favorite. And yeah, this was I think a Christmas present for my little brother. Because, like, there was one year where he tried to buy me a Steely Dan CD, and then he got them mixed up with the Steve Miller Band, and got me Steve Miller Band's greatest hits. So, the Steve Miller Band are okay, I guess. They got some good songs here and there, but that's not the kind of band that I would be springing for a CD for. That's kind of more the thing that, like, would play on my dad's dinner playlist. Not really passionate about their music in the same way I am for Steely Dan. So yeah, I got Asia on vinyl, and I'm happy to have that on vinyl, I suppose. Alright, next up we can take some out over here on this side. All of them have just been on this side for the most part, but you know what I mean. Okay, so here's some stuff that I've found out about through some stuff I missed roundups. So a name that stood out to me as pretty cool when I looked into him for some stuff I missed segment was Throwing Snow. I really liked his last album, Isthmus, and put that on my year-end list for last year. But I think the album of his that stuck out as probably his best was this one, Embers. This is a really weird case for a CD. It's got like a metal tin, and you open it up like this, and then whoa, it's got like hinges, and oh, that one's just coming off. And it's got the label thing, and there's the CD. Oh my gosh, what is this packaging? So yeah, Embers is that one stuck out to me as like I really slept on this one at the time that it came out. Didn't even know it existed. But if I had, then that probably could have been like a year endless contender for 2017, I think. This cool continuous like journey of various synth sketches that all segue perfectly into each other, it's kind of like a slightly better Nathan Fakes Blizzards kind of thing. It does run on a little long, but I had a ton of fun putting this on, and I can definitely recommend checking this album out if you've never heard it. And some other things I can recommend here. Of another one of the recent Some Stuff I Missed roundups, I checked out the artist Murkoff. So I ended up getting Cosmos. I think this was probably my favorite, and I ended up also getting a CD of Martes. I was stuck between which of these two was my favorites. I only bought Cosmos, and then Martes I got sent just as a bonus, because I think the person I bought this from on Discogs recognized me and watched my videos, so I'm like, hey, I like your videos, I'll just send in Martes, because you're a cool guy. So thank you very much to that person. I really appreciate it. So yeah, these are like fun, like modern classical IDM crossovers, I guess. Martes is more the IDM crossover, and then Cosmos is like modern classical and dark ambient type stuff. But I guess there's maybe a little bit of IDM in there too. I don't know, but it's really cool. The whole Cosmos type vibe. I guess it evokes the dark, cold emptiness of space and the grandeur of it. So yeah, I always like albums that can do that. So I'm happy to have these both in my collection. Those are two properly great albums that are definitely worth hearing. Okay, moving on from there. Next CD I can talk about is this one. This is a copy of Yellow's You Gotta Say Yes to Another Excess. I don't know what inspired me to get this particular one, because it's been 5 years since I did my video on Yellow. Although I remember enjoying every single album they put out when I went through all of them. But yeah, You Gotta Say Yes to Another Excess. I guess this was one of the ones left over on that addendum video I did for my favorites of all time list in 2020. And I thought, oh, this is another one that I can add to my collection, so I went out and got it. And yeah, it's good. I felt like I should have at least one Yellow CD in my collection, considering my typical taste, so this was the one I got. The next CD I can mention over here that I got is this big guy, Zircon's Arcology. It is great to see this finally out there in the public after having been teased for so many years. And I mean, and it's signed. Look at that, Zircon and Jelena Versa. So that's great. I was a Kickstarter backer for this thing. But yeah, I've obviously been a Zircon fan for many years, and this was like my most anticipated album of the last several years. And I mean, I don't like it more than Identity Sequence, but it is great. It's probably gonna at least have like an honorable mention on the year-end list this year. So, cause yeah, this is just like a 2010s EDM kind of thing. Even if I don't know if he was like intentionally trying to call back to that, it was just that's just his style. But this was really great for this to finally exist and for me to have a physical copy of it. Well, here's was a big impulse purchase that I made. So I decided to get the album back catalog of a somewhat smaller Bandcamp artist. So these are 5 CDs from the artist Mark Kellaway. I have Late Summer Sequence, I have Body of Water, I have Nocturnal Machines, I have Most Visible, and I have this album, which is a side project of his under the name The Exquisite Test Center, called 7 Points on a Closed Curve. This was like a kind of house-oriented side project, and I really liked it. This might be my favorite out of them, although I'm not sure. They're all very nice, like ambient projects, and like some of his album covers, especially the Body of Water and Nocturnal Machines ones, were just really captured my imagination, I suppose. I've been covering this guy in some Stuff I Missed segments for a while, and I saw like a photo of like one of his most recent albums, probably the most recent one, Most Visible, and I saw that like just he had this huge stock of CDs, and like he's probably not going to be selling out of those anytime soon, so I may at least make a small dent in that. And all of these albums are really good, so I'm happy to support a smaller artist like him and like have all that stuff in my collection. Also, he just put out an EP very recently, I think called Cybernetic Delights, which had like a whole dub texture to it, like dub inspired, like dub techno, dub, that kind of stuff. It was really good. I really liked that new EP he just put out. I might cover that in the next roundup. We'll see how that goes. Alright, in the home stretch here. So, the next CD that I can talk about are, I guess, these two over here. So yeah, one of the albums that I was most impressed with when I did my last Some Stuff I Missed segment was this, Factor B and Highlanders, Bloom in Loving Memory. This is like the best trance music I have heard in years. I might have even underrated it when I reviewed it in that roundup. I already scored it a solid 8. Might even be higher at this point because it's stuck with me. This is such a really strong emotional experience. This is almost certainly going to be getting a decently high spot on my year-end list at the end of the year. So yeah, I bought this CD, obviously, but Factor B also sent me his other album, the Theater of the Mind. This is outlined pretty much exactly the same as Bloom in Loving Memory, but yeah, this is not as good as Bloom. It's kind of the same album, but it doesn't have the weight of his wife and his mother passing away within a short span of time. And also the melodies and hooks are not quite as good, but it's still very good trance. So it's not like, I wouldn't say it's necessarily an essential listen, but it's very good. But yeah, this one's gonna be a big one for the year-end list, I feel like. That one's been really sticking with me. And yeah, that's gonna leave just one more CD to talk about. That'll be literally everything for this update. The last CD that I bought was this. Lifestyles of the Laptop Cafe, the Other People Place. Since I already have the Japanese Telecom one, and I obviously got inspired to go out and get this when I made the absolute fuck massive Drexcia Odds and Ends video, this was probably the album out of all the ones that I did in that marathon that is most likely to just really stick around for me and maybe enter like into some regular rotation, kind of in the same way that Japanese Telecom did. Yeah, I don't really know what else to say. It's just a nice collection of emotional Detroit techno and house and stuff, and yeah, this I never really gave this a chance before I did the giant video, but this was a good reason for that giant video to exist. As much pain as I went through to actually get all that together. But yeah. Oh yeah, and there's one last one I almost forgot about. Duh, why did I... Because this is technically part of my collection. Yeah, this guy. My new album. This is Real Life and Postcard Use by 256 Pi. This is the limited CD version that I sent out copies of, like a limited edition of 30, and they're all sold out, like within like 2 months of me announcing the album or something like that. The amount of support I've gotten for this album is absolutely crazy, by the way. I've already, not only did I get, like, just glowing reviews from both Not Real Music and Spectrum Pulse, but Mark put me on his mid-year list. Holy crap. I'm so honored that this album has, like, been really resonating with people in a way that none of my other ones have before. That's so crazy, but yeah, this is really nice. And this is the CD copy my personal CD copy, I guess. I'm not selling these anymore because I don't know how shipping is gonna pan out with the current administration, as you know. But yeah, that's another variable that's cutting into my CD buying. But yeah, here's the inside. This is what it looks like on the inside of the CD. That's the disc, and this is kind of like an alternate version of the cover that was inspired by the Ultimate Records designs, obviously. Yeah, and this version also has, like, the hidden track on it. Like, I did the, like, little hidden track gimmick where but I made sure to, like, make the silence in between, like, short. It's only, like, 10 seconds. But, yeah, there's a hidden track at the end of the last track, which is a medley of a bunch of songs from that Energizing CD, from this Energizing CD that was like my first exposure to any kind of electronic music, aside from like Gary Numan's Cars, and this was used. My dad brought this thing up to my uncle when my uncle put together that playlist that recommended me to Orbital and Air when I was like 12. So this goes back super, super far with me, and I thought it would be fitting to like do a medley of that stuff. And thankfully, you do not need to buy the CD to hear said medley. It is publicly available on my 256 Pi Music channel. There's an upload of it. It's called An Energizing Medley. And it's got a cover it's got a thumbnail that kind of looks like this album cover here. So that's a thing you can look into. And thanks again for all the support I've gotten for Real Life and Postcard Use. Link to buy that album is in the description if you want to, if you still haven't heard it yet. And here's Editing Tommy to remind you to please support Give Me Monaco and Vale Smith again. My new album would not have existed without these two guys. Thank you so much to them for helping me out with that too. Listen to all their stuff. Listen to Give Me Monaco's From the Coral to the Gray, and this is his Luminance and Inferno EPs, which I think are his best work. And I already talked about Vale Smith elsewhere in the video, but listen to all his stuff too. So that's all the CDs that I bought in the last 12 months. That's probably less than I usually do for these updates, although I feel like I say that like every year. Yeah, at this point, this is gonna be the last CD collection that I do just like every year, because we stop at around 10 for now, and we'll probably pick it up some other time. And I'll still keep buying CDs, just probably not at the same speed that I used to. Although I do plan to start up a new tradition to replace the CD collection updates, since, like, hey, we still have these anniversary things. So what I've decided to do instead is that I'm just going to pick one random album of my own choice and review it each year for my channel anniversary. And in fact, if things go according to plan, the first one of those will be tomorrow. I picked an album that, well, an all-time favorite of mine that I didn't think I would have a chance to review like in any other context. So yeah, that's something you guys will get to see hopefully tomorrow if everything goes according to plan. And yeah, I guess that's all I have for this CD collection update. So shout out to my Patreon supporters. They're awesome people. You want to add yourself to that list? Link to my Patreon is in the description. Thank you for all the support you all have given me for the last 10 years. And I still enjoy doing these. I'm still happy to keep going with them. I'm happy to do it in a whole nother decade. Let's go. And yeah, thanks again. That's all for today. See you next time.